Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Swaminarayan Bhagwan ki jai. Akshar Purushottam Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. Siyavar Ramachandra Bhagwan ki jai. Umapati Shankar Bhagwan jai. Guru Hari Pramukh Swami Maharaj ni jai. Guru Hari Mahant Swami Maharaj ni jai. In the divine presence of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, in the equally divine presence of all the great avatars, Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, Lord Shiva, who have blessed this earth and they continue to guide us. In the equally divine presence of my Guru, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, Mahant Swami Maharaj, and all the great Gurus, as I want to remember, Swami Chinmayanandji, Swami Chidanandji, and all the great Gurus who continue to watch over us. What better space there can be than the whole of this mandir? And I congratulate the organizers and the trustees who have kept the environment of the mandir and the whole and offered it to the public at large. Give them a big hand. To make something is easy. Sustainability is the key word. To smile for a while, it's easy. But to smile for life is a challenge. To live in this environment is easy. Our biggest challenge is sustaining environment. What we took for granted has become our greatest challenge. So I congratulate also the trustees of the BAPS Swaminarayan Mandir in Durban, because as both celebrate their 25 years, and I feel this is not just a gathering of seekers. Let's turn this gathering into a gathering of beautiful souls, where we love each other without a reason, where we connect with one another like Wi-Fi. You don't have to make an effort. But just as Swamiji, I wonder why Snehmuni Swami was talking about, and when we are talking about managing moods, why it just zeroed into marriages, I don't know. But I was just reminded of a very profound man who came to me. He was a vice president of a multinational, and he was going to be groomed to become the president. And he told me that, Swami, me and my wife, we have no issues at all. I said, how do you do that? And he said, well, she does what she wants and I do what she wants. Think about it when you go home. The easiest way to create a conducive environment is either to give up or give in. But then what happens to your heart is a challenge. You can do it once, you can do it twice, you can do it thrice. But the little hurts and hates that continue to build up are the things that really corrode our character and our spirit. So as we talk about managing our moods, because most of the time we focus on managing other people's moods. We are so extrovert that being introvert becomes a challenge. So rule number 1 for this morning, I wouldn't say gathering, but exchange of ideas and thoughts. Rule number 1 is open your minds. If you are sitting there with prejudice, if you are sitting here with so much grumpiness, then anything that is exchanged will fall on deaf ears or stone hearts. Rule number 1 is to open your mind and to turn the telescopes which watch the planets, to turn them into microscopes which explore our own hearts. At the end of the day, it is you who has to sleep with your own thoughts and your minds and your moods. And that is extremely important. We've created a society where we have veneers of veneers on top of veneers, where we mask our identity with degrees and positions, where we create a false phenomenon of experience. And you might be wondering that, Swamiji, why are you really peeling all our layers off? We need to get there. We need to get deep to really be able to manage our moods. If you want a cosmetic treatment, wonderful 5-minute meditation and off you go. Change of environment. First we thought that when COVID came, we were so happy, work from home. Then you are dying to get out of your home. Because our home became our office. And if you have school children, then every room became a classroom. You never had space to breathe or sleep. We completely reduced our homes to open space offices. As we change, things around us change. So many times when people go on vacation, just now in Dubai, where I come from, there's these ideas of staycation. I say, what's staycation? He says, Swami, you don't go out of the city, you just change homes. I said, what do you mean change homes? So they hire villas just about 10 minutes away from their home, and they stay there for 1 week with the same people with whom they have arguments every day. We've created a wonderful world, and nobody is to be blamed. And as we advanced further and further, recently I was in Azerbaijan, where 150 countries had gathered. And I had to give a keynote address on artificial intelligence. So imagine all the experts who had come in, and they were really, really going advanced. Artificial intelligence is completely going to plan our schedules, our day, our diets. Artificial intelligence is going to tell you that don't have meetings in the morning, you're an angry man. Artificial intelligence will give you reasons to explain to your wife why you are late at home. I'm serious, I'm not lying. All those discussions were done, but one man came up and he told us that in this age of artificial intelligence, we will be able to download our dreams. That's scary. Even when spouses look into each other's mobile, I say, why do you have a password that you keep changing? Because to protect yourself, not your information. When spouses can peep into each other's mobiles, it gets difficult. But when spouses can tap into each other's dreams, whoa, that's going to be a problem. But then again, they said the advantage of artificial intelligence would be we can induce dreams. If anybody is seriously interested in this, come and meet me alone, I'll explain. No, because I don't want to waste everybody's time, it's too scientific. But I came out from that conference convinced that artificial intelligence is going to intrude about every space that we really share. And then it was my turn to speak. And contrary to all opinions, and I tell all of you, and I don't hide myself, and I'm not fearful in expressing my views, because what do I have to lose? I'm a strong believer in humanity, a deep believer in the Spirit of God. The world has had so many world wars and we still survive. We have come from the brink of complete destructions and we have advanced. When the first machines came, and there was a movement by Andrew Luddite in England, and that movement was known as the Luddite movement. And he created an environment where everybody would pick any machine that has come, they throw it in the river, they'll burn it or break it. Because the condition was that machines will take over human beings. I'm talking about in the 1880s. And when all this movement had started coming in, still the machines came and human beings found another job. The same thing happened when computers came. The same thing happened when virtual reality has entered. The same fears that we have when AI will come. But I want to tell you, it will come. We can't stop it. But I am also a great believer in the human beings. We will find other ways of bettering ourselves. What do I mean? Once again, we will realize that our moods, our emotions, our ethics and morals are the real values that guide and guard us. Till now, we have started thinking that everything external are things that really affect our happiness. But a time has come when you control nothing that happens around you. Then quietly, human beings will learn to control things that happen within us. For long, we have been compelling ourselves to look outwards. And yet, we haven't found the answers that really trouble us. We live in a world of public successes but private failures. What do I mean? Once, a man, he goes to a psychiatrist in Manchester, England. And he tells the psychiatrist that I feel suicidal. And I have these massive mood swings. And to such an extent that they are aberrations, not just swings. And my moods create mayhem in my mind. So I feel suicidal, please, treat me. So the psychiatrist says, okay, do this and take this small medicine. After a week, that man comes back again and says, Doc, this is like dangerous. I used to get these suicidal thoughts every month. Now I get them every week. Your medicine's not working. The psychiatrist says that you take this medicine regularly, but there is one way. Uplift your mood, uplift your spirit. He said, but how do I do it? He said, look just across the road. There's this beautiful Russian circus. And in that Russian circus, there is this clown called Gromolin. He makes people laugh. And regularly I go and watch him as well, and he makes me laugh so much that my mood becomes upbeat. For a while I forget my fears and the worries and everything, and I suddenly feel that I need to really laugh. Then that patient says, but doc, that's even a bigger problem. He said, why? He said, I am that clown Gromolin. We live in a world of public successes. He could make the whole world laugh. What did Charles Chaplin say? Sir Charles Chaplin. If you go to his life exhibition in Cologne, and one of the quotes in his exhibition is that I alone could make the whole world laugh, but the whole world together could not make me laugh. Personally, he suffered so much trauma and so many difficulties and challenges that he could not smile privately. So we need to seriously think about, do we hide under the masks of our public successes? Or do we really try and face the realities of our own heart? And this is not something distant. It's not a legend that I'm talking about, this clown Gromolin. Or it's not something that I'm talking about a celebrity. When we talk about a celebrity, we feel, oh, we are not that. Just recently in the UAE, a very, very successful billionaire, he came to me and we were talking. And he has done so much service. It's not just about creating an empire of business. No. He has served society such a level that he did not want any orphan children being left out. So he himself has created around 40 orphanages across the world, not just in India, across the world. And he's not Indian. And to his shock and surprise, his only daughter, she ran away. Do you get what I'm trying to convey? In being busy in trying to save the children of the world, he disconnected with his own family, became a stranger in his own home, where he could not notice the moods of his own daughter, and they could not connect. That means all of us sitting here, not just you, even me, all of us sitting here are vulnerable to the maneuvers and the manipulations of our own moods. And why am I emphasizing this? Until we ask the right questions, we will never be able to identify the right reasons. As Einstein often said, Albert Einstein, one of the wisest, the finest, and most compassionate scientists, he often said that if I had a problem, hear me clearly, if I had a problem upon which my life hung, that means a serious problem, whether it's your financial or family or children or friends or health. If I had a problem upon which my whole life hung and I had only 1 hour to solve it, he said I would spend the first 55 minutes in asking the right questions. The answer will emerge in the last 5. But what do? We spend whole hour in seeking solutions without asking any questions. The great Vedas and the Upanishads have been founded upon asking the right questions of life. By what force does the wind move, the sun shine? The mind is fleeting. What is Bhagavad Gita? It's a dialogue between Arjuna and Lord Krishna. It is not a one-way discourse. What is the great Vachanamritam? Every day Bhagavan Swaminathan sat with all his devotees and saints, and they asked him simple questions, sometimes silly questions. But ask and you shall move. I remember that when Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam had come to Ahmedabad at 1 o'clock at night, and next day he was going to Sarangpur to open the book, the Transcendence book, the final book the great man wrote. It was on His Holiness Pramukh Swami Maharaj. So the night before, he came from Delhi at about 1 o'clock at night, and while his security were ushering him to eat, he hadn't even eaten. And breaking that security barricade, a little girl rushed up to Kalam. Now, how would you manage your mood here? I just want to ask you. He's hungry, he's gone. And after a month, actually, Dr. Kalam passed away. So he wasn't healthy at all. But this little girl broke the security cordon, and rushed to Kalam and straight away said, Dr. Kalam, how can I become the best scientist of the world? Is that a question you ask at 1 o'clock at night? And how do you answer? I bet you that even if she asked her own parents, they would have said, if dad would have just go to sleep, don't ask stupid questions. And the mom, if she is loving, she'll say, beta, आप सो जाओ, कल सुबह मैं आपको जवाब दूंगी. Even the parents would not have the patience, but Kalam stopped. And he bent down. Now look at the answer. What a great man. He said, so, what did you just do? She said, I asked a question. He said, well, keep asking till you find the right answer, and you shall become the best scientist of the world. Encourage yourself to ask the right questions, but we don't. If you had a bad day with your wife, or fight, or somewhere bad day in the office, we just take it as bad luck. But most of the time we blame others. Oh, those guys were in a bad mood, so. But what about you? We don't dare ask the right questions. That's why downloading our dreams would be dangerous. We dare not ask. If you really want to manage your moods, then ask the right questions. And if you do, and when you do, it will empower you. You will not be dependent on others. Let us start by asking the macro questions, the questions we all enjoy asking. There are some questions which will have no answers. But that itself is an answer. It doesn't have an answer. Like, when will I die? Do you really want an answer? Come on, tell me. You might say yes. And if I just say that you'll die in a car accident, you'll stop sitting in a car whole your life. Ena karta shanti rakho. There are some questions you don't need to have an answer. But still those questions guide you. It's like there is this question in my mind. I don't need you to answer it. No, you don't need to answer. It's like, at no point in history has there been more consciousness about peace. We have so many peace conferences, peace meets, peace agreements, so many groups from G5 to G7, G20, I don't know, G60, or then include all of us, G8 billion. There are so many groups that really strive to make peace. And there are so many NGOs and there are so many religions like us. And there are religious leaders and thinkers and writers who write about peace. At no point in history, mark me, at no point in history have there been more peace conferences, peace meets, peace organizations. Then why is the largest earning industry still armaments? Ask yourself. At no point in history have we been so conscious of personal happiness, where we have customized goods, where we can select channels, where we can view movies, theaters, entertainments, video games, theme parks, special event managers to generate happiness. At no point in history have we had more access to so-called happiness. Then why is the surest selling drug on this planet antidepressant? I think something is wrong. Why is the surest? Because some of the drug manufacturers told us that these tablets are 100% success. Is that something to be taking pride in? So why are we such a bored society? At no time or point in history have we been more connected. Initially, connection, communication was so cumbersome. And at no point in history or time have we become more connected. Then why do we feel so lonely? Just because we don't get those blue ticks. And I'm telling you that. By interconnecting ourselves for the wrong reasons, we've become an isolated society where we fear. We value ourselves with something else. That is the reason that we need to look into our moods. There's no point me telling you how to manage your moods until you are really serious and sit down. Then let me find out what is wrong with me. Perhaps nothing is wrong with you. But even when you introspect, then you just become a little better. You understand what I'm trying to say? Perhaps it wasn't your fault because of that fight. But it may not have been of your fault, but by looking into yourself, you just become stronger, better. There is no harm in looking into yourself deeper. And why do I say that? Just as we are conscious about climate change, it's real. And we know it's happening. We feel the weather changed, and we feel the environment deplete. And we feel that, okay, during my lifetime it's going to be okay. No. It's not like that. Science will find medicines that give you 150 years of life. And then you're still going to face the climate change. We can't be selfish. But just as climate change is real, behaviorists tell us that mood changes, mood swings, negative behavior is a bigger threat to the world than even climate change. Facts tell us that by 2030, in the next 6 years, depression will be the largest disease of this world. Annually, more people commit suicide, take their own lives, than those who die of HIV, malaria, breast cancer, homicide, and war. Shock yourself and rock your boat. We just completely brand a person who has just passed away because of suicide, and we isolate ourselves that this is not me. That we used to do long ago when terrorism came on board. That we do so many times when somebody else's shop is robbed, or somebody dies, or the stories we hear on the streets and at night. But now we realize that all of us are affected. So depression is going to be the single largest disease in the world, and I don't think it's going to become second ever. Because of our lifestyles, because of our expectations, because of our ego. That the smallest thing can continue to completely disrupt us. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 more shocking examples, but I'm also going to link you to them. So bear with me. If you look through information and history or whatever that's happened in news, there was this news that there was this boy, just a 16-year-old kid, who strangled his sister, Kevon Watkins, just because of changing the Wi-Fi of the home. Call it mood swing or call it an aberration. To kill his own sister, just for the sake of the Wi-Fi, household Wi-Fi. All he wanted to do is to have his personal Wi-Fi, which nobody should use, and so he could play better video games. Our minds are hijacked. How weak you feel if your mobile is lost. They say that almost 16 times you touch your mobile in a minute. If you want to touch, right? I have no issues. Because I don't want to, stop you from addictions, because it might just suffocate the guy next to you. Do not distance yourself from all these happenings, because in a way, secretly, they're also affecting us. Put your hand on your heart. If you can't find your mobile, how many times you had a fight with your friends or anybody? Where is it? How has stopped it? Where is it? Don't tell me this. How many times you've skipped your heartbeat? Technology is already invading you and hijacking your identity. That's why I say it's more important now than in the time of Stone Age. You didn't really need to manage your moods because you were not that capable. But now come even little deeper. You might have heard of the real truth of Brenda Spencer. It happened during my time when I was a young kid. I became a monk at 15 and a half, but this is when I was 14. A 16-year-old girl walked into her school. I'm talking about in the late 1970s. And she shot randomly a girl. A rifle that her father had bought her for Christmas, telling her she's a girl of gold. The father and mother loved her. And she walks in, shoots people, kills adults and children. And when they asked her, why did she do it? She said, I just don't like Mondays. And a famous song came out by Boomtown Rats, Tell Me Why I Just Don't Like Mondays. And you might say that, Swami, but that is horrible. But many times on Mondays when we have to get to work, you really don't like Mondays. How often do you say that today I had a bad day? And then you have already accepted the fact that I will have a few fights. So in a simple way, do not distance yourself from what's happening. Try and examine yourself, what really happens to you in a smaller scale. It does affect the people around you. But it doesn't stop there. For things that you don't get, of course, all of us get hangry. There was this boy, Robert Leon. He stabbed his mother 18 times because she did not make the right call to get a concert ticket that he wanted. That's horrible, correct? But if you can't get what you want, how many times you have broken relationships? How many times you have stabbed your own friends? How many times you have cursed God? Even sadhus are not immune. One religious leader committed suicide because his followers refused to obey him. And the religious leader had told this follower that you should marry this girl. And that boy did not. So the guru committed suicide. And I'm telling all of us are in that same boat. I'm not here, I'm just on the stage for the sake. But I want to tell you, all of us have to put our heart on our hands on our heart and accept the fact that how many times we lose our cool and we get angry because it just didn't happen the way we wanted it. Those are mood swings, traumas, aberration. And those are the things that are controlling the microclimate of your own mind. And we have to actually take control. But then again, sometimes in the zeal of becoming better or doing good, we harm others with our arrogant moods. Even goodness can be arrogant. You'll say, Swami, how can that be? In trying to be over strict with your children and trying to make them good, you break away so much that the children begin to hate you. Are you with me when I'm talking to you? Being too righteous. You have to balance everything and find the right way to connect, and that's how things get better. There's this real life incident of Richard Angelo, who was considered the good Samaritan, a great nurse. But in trying to become a better hero, like he did good, and everybody's praising you, but in trying to become a real hero, he started administering respiratory special drugs that the patient would go into suffocation, and then he would be the one, the first responder who would save the patient. He would create the problem for the patient by administering a drug. When the patient is just about to become critical, he would be the one who first responds and saves the patient, so he becomes a hero. But it didn't work every time. 4 patients died, and he was convicted for 50 years. So in trying to show goodness for wrong reasons, you start cheating yourself and you create a detrimental mood that is known, that Pramukh Swami often said, a sonani bedi. That means they are handcuffs of gold. You don't want to take them off because they are solid gold. How many times we get attached to our own things in arrogance that we are blinded by our own goodness, which is not good for others. That is the reason that to be humble, to find out, to be always trying to self-examine is always the way forward. So you might ask me that, Swamiji, all these things are there. But how does it relate to me and what can I do? Well, one of our saints, Pujya Anand Swarup Swami, once he was with Pujya Dr. Swami and they were at the LA airport, Los Angeles airport. Dr. Swami, I think many of you might have had his darshan, a very senior saint, very pure-hearted, most loving, very intelligent, but a person full of faith. So he asked Anand Swarup Swami that there was one elderly white man, American, and he was sitting alone in a seat. So he said, why don't you go to him and talk to him about religion? And that's dangerous, you can't approach strangers at all. You find it difficult with your children. But anyway, Dr. Swami told Anand Swami, so Anand Swami, he goes to that complete stranger. And before this sadhu begins, this may help all of us. Before this sadhu begins to talk to that person, he turns to Anand Swarup Swami and says, so whatever you are here for, let me tell you first, introduce myself, that I was a soldier in World War I, and I never needed God. I also fought in World War II, and I have not needed God. He showed a couple of wounds that I have been shot. I have been injured. Even in my pain and suffering, I have never needed God. And my wife doesn't believe in God. My children don't believe in God. I'll make sure my grandchildren don't believe in God. Now, if you need to say anything, tell me. That was like a giant full stop. It's so massive that, it'll take the steam out of anybody. So, Anand Swarup Swami is a very pious, learned saint, very humble. He said, let's put God aside. Do you believe in peace and happiness? He said, yeah, I believe in peace and happiness, but not in that God gives peace and happiness. So he was fixated with this anti-God feeling, yeah? So, Anand Swarup Swami said, so what is your concept of peace? So the man said, look, my concept of peace is traveling. I travel places. Look, I've got a ticket, I'm going to go to this place, this place, this place, and I'll come home after traveling. He said, my wife's concept of peace is mountains. She loved to be in mountains and be happy, calm, alone. That's my wife's way. So Anand Swarup Swami said that suppose your wife is in a mountain, very calm, and she's about to have dinner, and suddenly if somebody insults her or gives her bad news that your only son has passed away, what will happen? He said she'll be pained. So where's all the happiness gone? The same mountains are there, the same climate is there, the same river is there. Where's the happiness that's disappeared? If mountains, rivers, and environment gave you peace, where is the happiness? He said, but that is because her mind was disturbed. So then Anand Swarup Swami said, well, does that mean that if your mind is disturbed, you're unhappy? And if your mind is not disturbed, you're happy? He said, yeah, in a way it does. He said, that's what the Gita says and Lord Krishna has said. Ashantasya kutah sukham. Shantasya kutah dukham. He whose mind is at peace, where is pain for him? And he whose mind is disturbed, where is joy for him? You can be miserable owning $1 billion business, and you can be at peace under a tree having no legacy to give. And I'm being very serious. Most of the time we invite unhappiness. And how do you control your moods? If you pay no attention, then you get so good at it, it's like anything you practice, you become an expert, correct? If it's cooking and you practice, you become an expert. If you keep driving every day, you become an expert. Everything you practice and you choose to practice, you become an expert. So some of us do what? That if you get angry, then sometimes we glorify our anger. I just told him, I just shut him up. And I shouted him down. He deserves to do that. When you glorify your mood, there are so many people who tell me, Swami, look, I'm a straightforward guy, I don't care about anybody. Well, then nobody cares about you too as well. Everybody's straightforward. But we take pride in our own problems. Bhagavan Swaminarayan has said, Durvasa Rishi considered his anger as a blessing. Wherever he went, everybody would line up because nobody wanted to see him angry because he will curse. And that's the reason who could never get rid of anger. So if you get angry, there will be 5 people who will say, wow, you did good. You understand? There will be 5 people who will say, wow, you did good. You shout somebody down. And then you start patting yourself on the back as well, that, wow, he needed that. How many times you have a fight at home and then you say, once in a while I have to tell my wife off. So when you think it's a benefit to you for whatever reason, and if you get angry every day, you are actually practicing anger, and you get so good at it, so good at it, so good at it, then you'll start getting angry for every reason. It becomes your reflex action. Similarly, jealousy. If you know that you are jealous of your sister, or your wife is jealous of your brother's wife, if you know that if you are jealous inside, and I know that everybody has a barometer in your heart, and you do know it was wrong, but we accept it, that's the reason we cannot change it. I'm forcing you to think. I'm not trying to make you smaller. Nope. I want to make you bigger. That you have the power to peel away that anger and throw it away. You have the power to peel away that jealousy and feel free. Otherwise, all the blessings that you get will never amount to anything. Pramukh Swami always gave this one example, and I think it summarizes all of us, how moods have to be got rid of, and you focus on the goodness of good things and not the goodness of your bad things. Once a man, he went onto a special meditation for Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva is Asutosh. He can get angry quickly and he can be happy quickly. And it's always possible for human beings to make Lord Shiva happy. So this man, he prayed to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva became happy and said, wow, you're a wonderful devotee, so I am granting you a boon. He says, so what would that boon take? You're free to ask for 3 things. 3 things. But think wisely before you ask. He said, what do you mean wisely? He said, whatever you get, your neighbor will get twice that. Pati kyun hai? That guy starts saying and argues with God, God, I did everything. That guy did nothing. So why would he get double? He said, look, you will get what you want. So why should you worry about what the neighbor gets? He said, then I nearly ask wisely. So he goes home and he says, and the wife says, so what did you get from Lord Shiva? He said, he has given us 3 boons. So let's be careful. Whatever we ask, we'll ask. I'm just going to the bazaar to look around to find out what 3 things we need. And when he comes home, to his shock and horror, instead of his small hut, he sees a giant bungalow. But then he looks, and there are 2 bungalows. He said, no, boy, my wife, as women are hasty, she must have asked on my name. And he rushes in, and before he rushes in, he bumps into a car. And he looks at the neighbor, he's got 2 cars. He says, your wife must have a problem of traveling and she must have prayed for a car. And before she's about to make a 3rd wish, he stops her. Hey, stop. She said, why? "No, we've got a wonderful house which we have been praying for. We've got a wonderful car." She takes her outside and says, have a look. There are 2 bungalows there and there's 2 cars there. Then he says, "Oh Lord Shiva, my wife has asked in utter haste. I have one last wish. And if you can really fulfill that wish, I'll be the happiest." He says, "If you are really happy on me, let me lose one of my eyes. Let me lose one of my hands. And let me lose one of my legs." What happens to the poor neighbor? Eyeless, handless, and legless. Just so that neighbor suffers, he still, how could he live in a house with 1 leg, 1 eye, and 1 arm? Do not self-destruct yourself because of jealousy. Let's not go deep into smaller moods. These are absolute evident moods. Not only you know, others around you know as well. If you just ask your family members to tell you what moods you go through, you'll find them. You don't need to introspect. Even little children. I had a child who was just 5-year-old, and he came up to me. He said, Swamiji, I have anger issues. I said, what? I said, what do you mean anger issue? He said, don't talk like that to me. I'll get angry. How do you cure that? People are proud and they brand themselves. That's not us. We need to move on. There are 3 ideas that I have in mind which I want to, what really happens and how to delink that. There are so many ways, but I'll just highlight a few. So then you can think about it. There's no one master way. Is love, how do you grow into a great human being? There's no one master key. Is how do you face every moment of your life is what shapes you today. How do you cross a road? Do you think there's a master plan of crossing a road? You come to Ahmedabad. You try and cross the road. I am scared even now after 40 years. You try and cross a road. So if I get AI will surely get confused in Ahmedabad road crossing. I'm going to tell you that. There is no pattern. So what do? You leave this side. Of course, in England we were told to look right and look left, right? But here you have to look 360 degrees. It's not right and left. So you start a little, then you suddenly see a cycle coming, so you jump. Then you have a rickshaw coming, so you come back, and you try and run, and there's a truck coming, and then you try and get back, there's a cow behind you. And if nothing happens, the gutter's top is open. So instead of going horizontally, you might end up vertically. And then you cross halfway, because that's the mark. And you have cars going and trucks going and everything going, up and down. And yet you get suddenly one guy coming in reverse. And then you run. Then sometimes you have to run diagonal. Okay, because somebody's just taking his scooter out from the pavement. So if I plot that, and I say, now if you want to cross a road, first 2 steps you walk, then 3 steps you come back, then 4 steps you run, then 5 seconds you stop. And I gave you a blueprint that this is how you cross a road, you die. Because you have to constantly observe yourself that su chale hai. And is there a plan that you can cross the road the same way every time? Nope. How do you cross a road? You find a way every time. How do you manage your moods? You find a way every time. You already know it's building up and you know you're going to go there and you're going to shout and you know you're going to shout. Calm down. You can be equally assertive without raising the tone of your voice. Try it. Most of the fights that happen not because of the words you speak, but because of the tone. It's like somebody creates a whole dish of food and just brings it to you and say, "Kha." Tone. Word to kha jave. You understand? The tone. 90% of your mood spoilers are tone. It's not the words. If you just micromanage your tone, I promise you 80% of your fights will be over. Micromanage your tone. So the three things that I have in mind, these are not read and they are not borrowed or they are not like from deep from the scriptures, but as I move along on life, one of our biggest problem is past link. What do I mean by past link? We brand people, brand environment. You know, every time you go into a office's board meeting, you know these 5 people will be shouting. You already have that impression and you go in with that burden. Our prejudice and bias is sometimes responsible for spoiling our moods. You know, one boy used to come to our Ahmedabad Mandir and he used to do pradakshina till late at night, 11:30. And then I asked him that he seems to be a great bhakta. So I said, you do pradakshina till 11:30? He said, yeah, Swami. I said, why? He said, I wait till my father and mother go to sleep, then I go home. Serious. And these are not made up. This is something very genuine. One boy came to me in a rickshaw and he told me that, Swami, I feel so bad, life is not good and I feel moodless and my moods are always bad and I feel cheated, everything is unfair. I said, what's the problem? He said, my father. I said, then if it's your father, then so what's the problem? He says, when I was born, he never treated me fairly. My brother always got better. He got better clothing, better food. He was put in a better school. He was educated better. And then everything happened. He also got him a better wife. So he went on. And even, when he's made a will or something like that, my brother's going to get, but I've always been unfairly treated by my father. I hate my father and I believe that life is not fair. I said, well, then bring your father to me, I'll talk to him. He said, I can't. I said, why? He said, he died 20 years ago. I said, let him go. We are burdened by our past links. If you and your wife or your brother or somebody have had fights, you are branded and you are completely fed and prejudiced because of those past things, and then you always begin on the wrong foot. I don't have to search far to give you an example, somebody who broke the past links and created a wonder. I had the great opportunity of meeting Nelson Mandela. What a great man. And I met him at Gandhi Ashram in Ahmedabad. And I did ask him, this was his maiden visit to Gandhi Ashram. I did ask him, I said, Mr. Mandela, that you've seen the bitterest moments of life, humiliation, suffering, and everything in jail. So how do you feel with so much of a baggage when you are free? You know what he told me? He said, Your Holiness, the moment I left the jail, I left the bitterness behind. Otherwise, I would still be in a jail. Let go of all your bitterness. Let go of all your bitterness. Why do you carry that bitterness? Past link. We judge people, we create our moods because of what has happened to us in the past. Erase that. You might say, no, Swami, but that is history. So what? East and West Germany, by breaking the Berlin Wall, if they could erase a bitter history of fiercest prejudice, why can't you? Let me explain in a way where the women will understand more, that if you have a bag of potatoes, 5 kilos, all of you, and if you do shopping, you'll know 5 kilograms of potatoes. What are potatoes for? To eat and digest? If you ate those 5 kilos of potatoes, eaten and digest, it won't be a weight. Not in your hand at least. All right, so if you carry a bag of 5 kilos potatoes, if you eat them, then your hands are free, you can still walk and then spend that energy. But if you keep carrying and not use the potatoes for what they are meant for, possessiveness, my potatoes, not give it to anybody. If you keep them, after 2 days, it will start to smell. So you are carrying 5 kilos of weight and 5 kilos of smell. Even after a week, you don't let go. Then they begin to rot. Infested by worms, it becomes diseased. So you are carrying 5 kilos of weight, 5 kilos of smell, and 5 kilos of disease. The easiest way is to let go. The more you keep your hurts and hates in your heart, they begin to smell, they become diseased, and you spoil your moods. How do you want to elevate your moods? Remove the past hates and hurts. The guys you hate from school no longer know you hate them. You are the one who is hurting. And the classiest example would be in a car. If somebody cuts you lane and you start shouting and swearing, that guy doesn't even know and doesn't care. You are the one who fumes and your heart rate races and you almost collide with somebody else. Oh, he's a stupid man, this. Why? He doesn't even know you exist. Why do you want to carry hurts and hates that really reduce and impede your moods? Erase them. Pramukh Swami Maharaj, our spiritual leader, when Akshardham, Gandhinagar was attacked by terrorists, 33 people died. I was there whole night. One saint died in my own lap. Still, Pramukh Swami called me and said, put a block of ice on your head. We are hurt beyond belief, but through your words, do not allow society to be hurt. We are a responsible religion. Peace is our only way. My mood was haywire. He found out that I cried before, he was the deputy PM, NSG people were there. He told me again that when you appear before a newspaper or a television channel, shed no tears. Of course you are hurt, but you have to manage that hurt. Shed no tears, otherwise there will be more riots in society. And one of the reasons why Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the greatest scientist India has produced and perhaps the most loved president India has produced, one of the reasons he called Pramukh Swami his ultimate guru, he said that everybody talks about tolerance, everybody talks about forgiveness, but I've never met anybody who has forgiven like Pramukh Swami. That is why he's my ultimate teacher. Values cut across religion. And if you do that, so please delink yourself from past link, correct? The second thing is first blink. What do I mean by first blink? We have a problem that the first idea that comes to your mind, all the train of ideas follow like that. Suppose we're in a room and suddenly you hear a scream. If you are in a movie theater, you won't be bothered because your train of thoughts would be there's a movie going on, the scream is in the movie. If you're in Durban, then your train of thought will suddenly say, oh, this has happened, something's happening, something. You understand, first blink. So when you meet anybody on the street and anybody, or even your friends who may have hurt you, your first thought should be to see something positive in that person. And then your thoughts will become, the moods will become positive. This is our mind. And what do I mean by that as well? Once I was at the airport, and when our flight kept getting delayed. And there were hundreds of people, storming at the desk, shouting their mind out that this has been 1 hour delay, now 2 hours delay, you're cheating us, we want our money back. There was only one man who was sitting so quietly. I saw him. And he looked important, intelligent. I know he must have had an important meeting. Everybody shouting. Literally, this is how we behave. And you very well know that the guy at the counter doesn't control the plane. Be honest. And he can't do anything about it except hear your hurts. Then I asked this guy who was sitting at the airport, I said, why are you so calm? I'm really happy. I was touched. He said, look, Your Holiness, I wanted to tell you that there's just 3 reasons why the plane can be delayed. One, if it has a technical problem. I don't want to be in a plane which has a technical problem. I'd rather go 1 hour late. The other, if it has weather problems. I don't want to be up there 30,000 feet up in the air in the bad weather. And the third is, if the pilot is not ready, I don't want a tractor driver flying this plane. I'd rather wait happily safe on this earth than precariously midway in the air. He managed his moods. Do you understand? He's an ordinary man. Ask the right questions in any situation and you will be unable to unfold and you will be able to manage. But most of the time, what do? Groupthink. 3 words you should remember. Past link, remove that. Debrand everybody. First blink. Don't follow the first impressions you have. Create a positivity and then go. Anything that happens to you, even if you're late, something has happened, something has gone, even your business deal has fallen, you still have to think positively. And the third is groupthink. We are a civilization of herd mentality. Or everybody says, we follow opinions but create none of our own. If you just force yourself into groupthink, you will never be able to uplift your moods. What do I mean? Science tells us that every day we get 70,000 thoughts. Most of you will feel, Swami, I don't even realize. I just get 5, 6. You will as you progress. So every day we get 70,000 thoughts per day. But of those 70,000, the real odd challenge is 95% are repetitive. Like you had to come today, you must have thought 6 times, I have to go, I'll be on time. You understand? Even yesterday, then other people would have told you, you have to go. So most of the time, 95% are repetitive. Sometimes the hurts that we have, the same hurts become stronger and bigger because we repeat them. That guy just swore at you once, but you remember it 100 times, you swore at yourself 100 times. So coming back to what I wanted to emphasize, that every time you think, 95% of your thoughts are repetitive. But the sorry state is 85% are negative. I want to tell you that there is this theoretically, and wise men and people tell you that we can take things positively or negatively. You have no choice. Even the most negative thing that happens to you, you have to take it positively. Theoretically, you have a choice that I can choose to eat or not to eat. Correct? ઘરનું ખાવાનું ન ભાવતું હોય તો બહારે જઈને બીમાર પડો તો I want to tell you, theoretically you have a choice not to eat or eat. But if you want to live, you have to eat. Theoretically, I have a choice whether to breathe or not breathe. If there is bad smell, I say, I don't want to breathe, I don't want to have any negative. But theoretically, you have a choice to breathe or not breathe. But practically, if you want to live, you have to breathe. Theoretically, you have a choice to think or not to think. But do you have a choice? Your mind constantly thinks. So I want to emphasize that things that you have to do, you have no choice. Then just think positive, even if the most difficult things have happened. If somebody betrays you or cheats you, at least you can rely on one fact. It was good that he cheated you, you are not the one who cheated. That would have broken your soul. Something that you can't control, we accept. How many things on this earth do we accept? You say, no, Swami, I'm an intelligent man, I'm a self-made man. I do not accept things. I choose things. Do you really? Did you choose the day of your birth? Or did you accept it? Bolo, yes or no? Did you choose your parents? You accepted them. Did you choose to be a boy or a girl? You accepted it. Even if you are the eldest in your family, did you choose your brothers and sisters who followed? You accepted it. Even a doctor, can he choose his diseases? 99% of eye doctors, they always tell me, Swami, if you don't do this well, you'll get glasses. They're all wearing glasses. Check them out. Every time you go and visit an eye doctor, remember me. 99%. Can they choose not to have eye problems? Nope. Okay, did you choose the color of your skin? Every day you look at yourself in the mirror, have you chosen your face? Did you choose the intelligence that you possess? Everybody wants the highest, but still. I want to tell you, there are so many things on this earth we haven't chosen. Did you choose to be an Indian? Somebody said Bush started the war in Afghanistan. Okay. What if suddenly he dies and then he's reborn in Afghanistan? I want to tell you, there are so many things we didn't choose. One of the guys wisely told me that, Swami, of all the things, I did choose my wife. So I said, what about her relatives? He said, that's a package deal. So I want to tell you, there are so many things in this world you don't choose. But you accept it. And that is why you are happy. So there are things that happen which may be negative to you, but accept that and move on. Take them positively. You will be able to manage your day, manage your mind, and manage your way. And lastly, I want to tell you that managing your mind becomes so complicated. That's why all the genuine religious leaders are there. Where do we go for expert consultancy? For structural engineer, you go to a structural consultant. For a doctor, now we choose specialists, oncologists. We choose eye specialist. Now there are special doctors for the right ear and the left ear. I am worried he can cure the right and spoil the left. We have created so much, we know so much, we know more and more of less and less. So as we move along in life, and we specialize, we go off to consultants and specialists who help us genuinely, tax consultants and everybody. So who are the specialists of the mind? Any Tom, Dick and Harry? You say, I got this advice from my friend. Is he an expert? Has he managed his mind? Has he managed everybody? A friend is good. I'm not saying go out with the friends with whom you go out to the movies, to the restaurants, to vacations. They're all good. But I think as wise people, you need to go to people who have mastered their minds or also studied. That is why it's not me saying, if you heard of the greatest psychologist, one of the greatest that our world has produced is Carl Jung. He was the Shishya of Freud, Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud did not believe in God. But it so happened Carl Jung, who treated so many people from more than 40 developed countries, more than hundreds and thousands of patients. Carl Jung writes that as I guided people and cured people in their way through psychiatry, but then he writes, in my moments of darkness, even a psychiatrist needs help. In my moments of darkness, I could have wished for nothing more than a real life guru. Someone possessing superior knowledge to me, and someone who would have disentangled me from the involuntary creations of my imaginations. If Carl Jung searches for a guru who has mastered his mind, once a Shishya goes to a spiritual master and he says, that Guru, it's my mind. I can do everything and anything, but it's my mind, my thoughts I can't control. Then the Guru says simply, then give it to me. Why do you still keep it? Offering your mind to an expert who is spiritual. What did Arjuna do to Krishna? Arjuna argued with all his might. To a level when he says, Siddhanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishushyati roma harshascha jayate brahmativa cha me manaha. Ideal case of mental depression where his mouth is dry, mind is spinning, hands are trembling. And a modern psychiatrist or psychologist said, okay, lie down, take a glass of glucose, and then I'll massage your hands and feet, and then get up and fight. But Lord Krishna says something else. He says, Klebyam masma gamaha partha, nai tvetat upapadyate, shudram hridayam dolbalyam tyaktva tistha parantapa. Get rid of the cowardice of your mind and your heart. Get up and fight and do your duty. The real spiritual people tell you how to master the moments of your life. There is no single master key. You have to cross the road every time. The moment lies in awareness. Looking at yourself before you look at somebody else. And my only simple guideline would be the first half an hour of your day. When you wake up, do you wake up with the thoughts of the horror of that day? Or do you choose to insert positive ideas of the great people that you have met, you have learned? I want to do this. Master your first half an hour, whether you do it through puja, your arti, or physically, mentally induce great ideas in your mind, and see throughout the day, you will be able to naturally master your moods. Because it's such a complicated arena. You can't pick up anger. Sometimes anger becomes hate. Hate turns into jealousy. It's so fast, it's like a chameleon. You start off with something, you end up with something else. So I want to ask you to choose two things. That always look at the positivity and miracles will appear. And I'm not saying it for the sake of the saying. More than 1,000 people must have told me that, Your Holiness, you can never build a temple in Abu Dhabi. There has never been a temple of this large, this quality in an Islamic country. There were 1,000 people who were my friends, and they said it has never happened in history ever again. Only Pramukh Swami in 1997 had told me that there will be a temple in Abu Dhabi, and may it bring countries, cultures, religions closer together. May it remove the internal enmity from each other. And I want to tell you, I had to choose between 1,000 no's and one yes. And that one yes made 1,000 yeses. You can change. People will tell you you can't change, but you can. Choose, force yourself to be positive. Take the punches in your belly. Keep grounded on your feet. Begin the first half a day. Don't start off looking at your messages. Not all your messages are great. And most of your messages you feel you could, even if you didn't read, it would have been fine. The easiest way is to select all and mark them as read all. The easiest way is that, but I want to tell you, do not allow others to hijack your happiness by one wrong word and one bad idea. Master yourself and find a guru or a spiritual leader who you can constantly communicate with and learn the better things of life. Thank you very much. I do really am happy in being with you. Thank you for everything that you do. May you master not just your moods, but your life. Jai Swaminarayan. Thank you.